listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. This is your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
We're here. We're at week 0.
We've made
We're
it.
We're at ground zero. We're at week 0. NFL preseason is not doing it for me, so I'm ready. I'm ready for some meaningful football. I turned to the Bills-Bears game long enough to catch an official review, followed by what felt like a long commercial break, followed by a 21-0 score. So, in I think the second quarter. So yeah, let's play some real football, shall we?
I have not turned on. Well, that's not true. I turned on a preseason game. Was it last night? Monday night? I think it was. Bengals, whoever they were playing, Commanders.
Right? Exactly.
And the time I turned it on, I think it was tied at 14. It was like right before half or something. But even then I was like, nah, this ain't it. Yeah, I've got not only like college football back this weekend, and we talk about meaningful games, we have a Big 12 conference game this weekend, Michael. That may not mean much to anybody else. I mean, other fans, other conferences, but we have Farmageddon, man. So it's not like it's
Farmageddon.
Cincinnati, Arizona. No, it's a couple teams that are picked to be good in the Big 12 conference. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, having a meaningful game on August 23rd instead of November 3rd. I don't know when they play this game, but yeah. So we've got the week 0 slate to get to. We'll talk about that. We'll look at the Big 12. We'll do most of our time will be spent predicting, giving our thoughts on what the Big 12 is going to look like this season. We will give some fall camp updates. We will talk about the other football, Texas Tech soccer. They are underway. They've got a few games already under their belts this season. And we will save our Texas Tech predictions for next week. And then do our preview of whoever it is we're playing next week. I couldn't even tell you.
Our Kansas Pine Bluff will be coming to Lubbock, Texas. I wonder if we should look into the elevation difference and see if we can play on that.
Well, let's see. Where is Arkansas Pine Bluff located?
It is I
They
don't
are
know. Is Pine Bluff a town?
Pine Bluff is a city. Okay.
There we
Pine
go.
Bluff.
Elevation.
220 feet.
Woo! 3,000. They got a 3,000-foot climb to get here. We'll see how that factors in.
Almost exactly. Look at you, Michael. 3202.
I know. I had to remind a person that I sent a Google Earth KMZ file to today to click the terrain button, because otherwise what I provide will float 3,200 feet in the air. So I had that number fresh in my head, because they called saying, why do none of my lines match up? Why does none of this make any sense? I said, you got that terrain button clicked. What terrain button? Aha. That's it.
There we are. All right. Let's hop in. Let's discuss Red Raider soccer, Michael. I've not seen any action. I've seen the final scores and outcomes. So they've had one exhibition at Denver and then 2 regulation matches at San Diego State, home versus Youngstown State. They are a 4-goal scoring machine. They're averaging exactly 4 goals a match so far in the season. Including exhibition, they've scored 12 goals and surrendered just the 1. Without doing a lot of research, Michael, I remember that the defense was pretty salty last season. They gave up just a very small number of goals last year, and it was a lot of shutouts. Disappointed, honestly, that you gave up a goal to Youngstown State.
Well, that was
seal.
That was after that crazy. I keep forgetting you don't live here. That was after the crazy little 80-mile-an-hour windstorm and rain blew through randomly at 4:30. Yeah, that was Sunday evening. And
oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Much of Northwest Lubbock was just hammered, and in my neighborhood, I should send you the wind map. It's weird. It's like there's this giant area of Northwest Lubbock that was just hammered with 80-mile-an-hour wind, and then nowhere in town except right where I live, like just this tiny little dot.
Microburst.
Yeah, definitely. Because I was talking to coworkers who didn't live far from me. They're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, no, that wind was crazy, wasn't it? No. Anyway, so game was delayed about 40 minutes, maybe a little bit longer on Sunday, and it was still just water. It wasn't, the water wasn't visible, but anytime the ball was kicked, you could see water kicked up. When goalies were flying trying to block a shot, water was kicking up. So it was kind of rough out there for Youngstown State and our Red Raiders. But I believe I think that was when I tried to watch some Bills Bears, and then I immediately switched back to the Red Raiders because that was much more interesting. Way more interesting. I think they got 2 goals within the first 5 or 10 minutes, and they may have gone up 3-0 pretty quickly. I wasn't able to really lock into that game, but off to a 2-0 start. They will head over to they're covering all of these sand areas in California, so they've already been to San Diego State. They will head to Santa Clara on Thursday the 21st, and then San Francisco on Sunday the 24th. Now the Santa Clara game's at 9:30 on Thursday, so plan accordingly if you're going to try to watch that one. But the San Francisco game on Sunday, 1 p.m. So that's perfect time to tune in to some Red Raider soccer. And as always, please check out Seeing Scarlet. I know they had our goalie on recently and interviewed her before they went to San Diego. And
Wales.
So she's only allowed 1 goal all season. And, I say that there's a chance she might have not played. She might not have been in the game versus Youngstown State when that goal was allowed. So I really don't. I don't know. So I'm surface level. Exactly. I'm surface level soccer right now, but I feel like we've got to mention it because they are ranked preseason, and they do have a chance to go pretty far in the Big 12 and beyond. So going to be checking in, not going to pretend like I'm an expert. And that is why you should check out Seeing Scarlet for those of you who need a little bit more of a deep dive into soccer than I can provide.
Sorry, I was trying to throw you off there, and you just...
I'm rattling, man.
You just kept right on through like I wasn't even saying nothing.
Consummate professional.
Yeah, that's what I said. Sorry, I was sending the invite to the Discord. I'm in a couple things. One, you mentioned.
Are you okay?
No.
You haven't said anything in like 30 seconds.
I was going back and forth between like what I wanted to
We're
bring
recording.
up next. One, you're talking about like not living in Lubbock, and I was like, man, I miss it. I do. I don't miss the wind. Let's be honest. I don't miss the wind. We had a little freak storm that blew through here today. And like gusts got up to 40 miles an hour. Like, oh my gosh, it's so windy. I was like, this is a breeze. I don't miss those random windstorms. Two, it just came up, and I wanted to just mention it just because it's Big 12 related. And breaking news came through. Cincinnati has just dismissed Jizzle James from their basketball team. So,
Wow.
there you go.
Any reason as to why?
I didn't read the article.
Just dropping the hammer.
Just the band hammer.
All right. All right.
Let's do fall camp updates, Michael. I know there are some people that have already previewed, have already seen my take here. Okay, so one biggest news: Quentin Joyner went down in scrimmage number 2 with an ACL tear. He will be out this season. Very unfortunate. I don't know how to feel about it, but I think that it's somewhere in the middle here. Like the sky isn't falling, but also like I'm not writing it off like he wasn't the penciled in starter and that everything's just going to be okay.
You're not into the next man up mentality necessarily.
Yes, like I am. Like I have good feelings that the combination Jacoby Williams and Cam Dickey will be just fine. I don't think it's the same without Joyner. Coming in to this part of fall camp, we'd heard like how all three of them are going to be playing a lot. That you really couldn't say one was a starter over the other one. Like one would have to go out there for the first rep and technically be named the starter because of that, but they were all going to play. So you knew you had 3 guys coming in that were going to play a lot. Coach McGuire was talking about like he wanted them to be called the committee because they were all going to be running. I'll be carrying the ball. I know that the injury happened on Saturday and the hype for Adam Hill started before Saturday. I get that. Coach McGuire has been talking about like how impressive Adam Hill has been. I found it very odd, though, that you have a 3-man rotation, 3-man fight, whatever competition. And instead of saying after one of them, presumably the starter goes down, that it's now a 2-man rotation, that they're scraping in somebody else. Like, nope, we got to keep the 3-man storyline. We got to bring in Adam Hill. He's going to be all this thing. And so much so that we were pulling highlights from him playing high school, like his high school highlights. You said, well, what's the problem with that? Like, he doesn't have like game tape, or like where else would we see how this guy plays? Like, well, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, Michael, but I do want to qualify that he came from 2A Albany, and it's not going to be plug and play replacing Joyner for Adam Hill. Tell me I'm not crazy for thinking that that's not like a 1-for-1. Like we're just going to slide Adam Hill in there and everything's going to be the same, right? Like surely that's not what other Tech fans are trying to do when they're like, oh, but Adam Hill has been so great in camp.
Is it the Albany Lions? Is that right?
I think so.
I think so too. Yeah, it is a bit of cope, especially after the news. I hats off to the people who were on the Adam Hill train a little bit before that awful news about Joyner broke, which we feel for him as a player and his family, and I mean, moved out here and got set up here in West Texas and was ready to
brought his younger brother.
Yeah, ready to be RB1 basically. But did not work out, obviously, at least for this season. So we'll see what the future holds for him with Texas Tech. But I think we've also seen what McGuire's capable of from his own hype train perspective. This is something we've talked about the last couple of weeks. How confident we are in this committee, how well this committee would work. I do think that he feels that it would, but I with you. I mean, I don't know why there has to be three, and why we need to call for three. Basically, the committee could be two. Maybe there are three, but he's more of just the tiebreaker vote. He shows up to the committee. He brings the sandwiches, makes the coffee.
He's the lunch pail guy.
Takes the minutes, but at the end of the day, he's basically the tiebreaker vote, and they, the other two guys kind of run things a little bit. So I'm not. I mean, I'm excited that he gets to move up and that he gets a chance to prove himself, but I don't feel that it's something that Tech fans should focus on and just act like losing Quentin Joyner was just a minor setback, no big deal. I still think, and this is something we've said too, that Taj Brooks is unbelievably hard to replace, and he's someone that we're going to look back on years from now and just think about how fortunate we were with how durable he was and how he was able to get 5 damn yards per carry no matter what, and just keep on moving the chains for 2 solid years. I mean, more than 2 years, but 2 solid years as a starter where he took 90% of the carries.
And I'm not also trying to say that like Joyner would have been a replacement for Taj Brooks.
Sure.
But I think without Joyner, that gap is going to be even more noticeable. It's going to be felt. So I don't know. I do like I don't want to say like you can't produce like successful and productive college football players from small towns, but there are a lot of guys that were throwing out the exceptions, and like I wanted to like I just want to say like if you're coming at me with a town of under 100,000 people, just get lost, man. I don't care. I don't care about you.
Someone grabbed that quote. It's terrible.
I mean,
go Badgers.
Anyways, yeah. So Joyner out 6 to 9 months, as to be expected with any ACL. That would put his timeline returning February, which would be best case scenario to get him ramping back up into spring practice for next year. Otherwise, it could be as late as May. So working back into summer workouts. I do and I don't want to lump in all Iowa State fans, but I think it encapsulates a lot of people that were just waiting for something to go wrong with what Texas Tech did this offseason in the transfer portal, to then point at like, see, you spent all that money and it didn't do anything. Or how bad must you feel that you went out and did all these things and all for nothing? Here's where I'm at with that, Michael. One, your Iowa State douchebag fan can suck it. Okay. You are a fan of a poor program that I couldn't give 2 bleeps about right now. Okay. You've decided you don't want to compete in the realm of college football today. That's fine. You decide how you want to spend your money. I also know that like just because Texas Tech spent X number of dollars, whatever that actual amount is, doesn't guarantee a dang thing. Texas Tech could technically win the same number of games as last season. Like we could go 8-4 and be like, look, you spent all that money, didn't win any more games. You could win fewer games this year. You could win all of them. But like, as anything is, like, you took a known resource, this time money, and recruiting time and resources, like you would if you were going after high school guys. Like, you would commit so much time after one guy. Imagine playing NCAA football and you're allotted X number of points in recruiting per week. Same thing. Nothing's changed except the currency you're using is actual currency legally now, right? Just because you go all out on a player or players doesn't guarantee results. So I don't feel bad that the school, the team I'm a fan of, went out and spent a lot of money, committed a lot of money, and one of those players will not be able to play this year. I feel bad for the kid, and I can project that there will be a negative impact on the team potentially. But that doesn't give me any kind of buyer's remorse, or I don't feel bad that, like, all of a sudden, like, no, yep, we shouldn't have done that. I think unless things go terribly wrong, Michael, like winning 5 or 6 games, I'm not going to have a change of stance on, oh man, we probably shouldn't have done that, or that was a big waste. It was not a gamble, but a calculated risk to put yourself to create a competitive advantage, put yourself in a position to win. How that works out down the line, it's not up to me. It's not up to even the guys that spent the money. So it's like, I don't know. I think we as fans, Texas Tech fans, need to steel ourselves up a little bit. Be prepared for when loss number 1 comes. The mentions are going to be nothing but, oh man, you spent all that money and you still lost. Or if another player gets hurt, or whatever, something bad happens, you spent all that money and you lost. Man, it sucks. You know what sucks? Is being on the outside, not having the money to be able to spend. I'm like, yeah, I wish we were there. Or deciding that you didn't want to compete. That sucks. Like, hey, we are in a major power conference, but we don't have the people with the stones to put their money where their mouth is. That sucks. So miss me with the must really suck to be a Tech fan right now, or it's gonna be real tough this year. Nah, man. This is not where I thought it was gonna go, but I'm a little bit more frustrated than I thought I would be. And maybe because I'm just projecting, thinking like how, like, it will just be unbearable for a day or two after the first loss or the next injury or whatever negative happens. Because everybody wants to come in and point like, yeah, look what you did. No, miss me with that crap.
Yeah, we got a taste of it during the softball during the softball postseason. Getting to see that, but yeah, Tech fans have got to prepare themselves a little bit more with football, because there are folks who are wishing that they had deep pockets who could make the moves that Texas Tech can, who will be waiting, just hoping for a downfall of some sort that they can point and laugh and say, see, told you so. And honestly, these are grown adults making these decisions, these financial decisions, to put this money out there. They know the risks. Like you said, it's a calculated risk, but it's a heck of one. It's a heck of a risk, because they're not going to see, is Cody Campbell going to get financial return on this? Even if Texas Tech goes 12-1 this year, 14-0, he's not going to see any more money because of it. He's just going to, he's going to sleep well. He's going to sleep well knowing that Texas Tech put together a world-class college football team on the field. That's what I don't understand. Like, are these people? Do they think that they get to buy stock in the team, and that they're like a Green Bay Packer fan now?
Yeah,
That oh
that's a good
man,
point.
well we bought this guy for $2 million, so that means Kirby Hokut's gonna perform my son's wedding. No, there's nothing like that. There's no quid pro quo here. These are just adults that love Texas Tech, who want to see Texas Tech succeed. And if you don't have those type of people on your sideline, well, sorry about you, but we do.
Yeah, and that to me even like speaks even more highly of like their motivations to do it. They want to do it because they want to see their team succeed. There
Exactly.
is no making their money back. There is
No,
no dividend on this.
no, that money's gone. Whether Texas Tech wins every game or loses every game, it's gone. It's out the door,
I mean,
and they're fine with it. They're like,
remember
good.
remember how we felt when Fardaws Amac played exactly 0 minutes. Like, shoot, we just spent $800,000 and got nothing. Yeah, that's what these guys are doing. They're fronting millions of dollars. And even if we go 14-0, we'll get $0 of it back. Anyways. All right.
It might be 15-0. I don't even know anymore.
Well, if you get the home field advantage or top four, well, you're a Big
Yeah,
12
we
team.
would
You won't
technically.
make the top four. This is
Well, we would if we were 13-0, maybe.
no, Michael. No.
No, probably not. You're right. You're right. We got to
They
let
would
in that 11-2 SEC team ahead of us
and a
that just lost their conference championship, and then we've got to let in the 10-3 team that beat them.
yeah, and then a 12-1 Notre Dame and
Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios where 13-0 Texas Tech would be outside looking in.
they're like, you know what? We'll put you sixth.
6. Yeah, that's exactly what
Not
I was
even
thinking.
fifth. All right. So do you watch The Brand?
I hate this. No, I don't hate the brand. I hate that I have not made time for just the first episode. That's all I've watched.
Okay,
Long
so
story short.
you've only missed one.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is great. There is, it's probably been referenced, and you may have seen it already. About 2/3 of the way through, there is a speech, post-practice speech given by Coach McGuire about loving the game of football. And it is movie worthy, Michael.
Oh,
There's
okay.
even like
All right.
there's even like some ambient music in the background. I would love to know what that song is, what that piece of music is. There's not enough silence to like Shazam it. It's because it's McGuire talking over it, and it's not going to pick up anything. It's fantastic. The episode of The Brand is fantastic. I also watched the latest episode of the podcast with Gio and McGuire, and they were going through some updates and whatever you want to call them after the second scrimmage. So one, he does mention there that how bad he feels for Joyner and all that kind of stuff. But he does touch on that both coordinators will be coaching from the sideline this year. I don't know if that was even a question that a lot of people had. But with two new guys as coordinators, I know some guys want to be in the box. Both of them, he said, are want to be on the field. He mentioned a few guys specifically that would be up in the box. Like, I think he said his son is going to be up in the box. And then the assistant special teams guy. And then he said the defense is still working out who's going to be where. And then Gio asked him about like guys from the second scrimmage that performed well. And these are guys he named and just comments he made about them. He said David Bailey, who's first. He said he's different. Oh, inject that in my veins.
Chills.
That goes alongside one. He's been really high on Romello Height. He took him to media days. Romello Height had a mic'd up video that came out within the past couple of days. At the very end, Mac Leftwich kind of comes in. He's like, I'm ready for him to get after somebody else's quarterback and not mine. Love that. Coach McGuire also pointed out Lee Hunter. I think Lee Hunter is going to be just phenomenal on the defensive line. Jaden Cofield, Ben Roberts. And then he mentioned Oliver Miles. If you've seen the clips from the scrimmage, he got an interception there in the end zone. We got some additional context from Coach McGuire. He said that was like a simulated fourth down. So he was talking to Will Hammond, who's the quarterback that threw that. He's like, it's fourth down. You couldn't take the sack. You had to throw the ball there. So it's like, I don't fault you for trying something. Like, you don't want to throw an interception, but like you have to do something. But then he also said, like, Oliver Miles made a heck of a play on that. So he's like really excited about him as a young guy. And then offensively, he mentioned CD. He said Will Hammond's been really good. And then he said recently they've had a lot of guys, younger guys, taking a lot more reps with the ones just to get them some additional experience. So he said Leighton Stone was running with the ones and was doing really well. Bryson Jones, Kelby Valson, and then was really high on Jacoby Williams. He rounded out with special teams. He said in the second scrimmage, the team went 4 for 4 on field goals, and even offered up that Stone had one that was 50-plus yards. Gio asked about a depth chart, where they were at with that. He said everybody loves the oars, which he was being a little facetious there. He said there should be very few oars on the depth chart this year, except for 2 positions. He said running back. He said that really could have been a 3-way or and tight end. He's like, those guys, like, it's just about they bring just a different skill set and what they want to do that day or that play. Will just determine who's on the field at that moment. We talked about John Carlos and Llewellyn being more inline guys, whereas why am I blanking on his name? Terrence Carter and the young guy being more of the receivers. Why am I blanking on his name? The youngest one. It doesn't matter. It's so close, Michael. I can't wait. I know we're starting with the uphill, the ramp up on the season with Pine Bluff, then Kent State, then Oregon State, but I want to see some absolutely ruthless blowouts the first 3 weeks.
Me too. I want to see complete physical dominance in the trenches. Quarterbacks that can't escape, running backs that can't get beyond the line of scrimmage, tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Jacoby Williams running through gaps that an F-250 could drive through. I mean, I want to see all of that. I just want to see absolute physical dominance those first 2 weeks, preferably the first 3.
Yeah, I want to see.
I'll take the first 2.
I want to see defensive backs feasting, just because whether they have less time to. The quarterback doesn't have less time to pick the best open receiver. Or if they're forcing something, they have a hand in their face. They don't see everything perfectly. I want to see that.
We want to see it just because we don't get to see that very often.
Yeah. Here. Something else that's happened since we last recorded, Michael, is that the team revealed their 100-year uniform that will be worn on homecoming weekend. And I want to get your thoughts on it, Michael.
Big fan. I like that the double T looks like it was drawn by a third grader, because that's how they used to look. I mean, that's it. It's that simple. I think they really caught kind of the essence of, I don't want to say thrown together, but just we're going to make this ourselves. We're going to put tech on some jerseys. We're going to put a double T on it. I don't know. It's 1925. Let's give it our best shot. And these uniforms kind of scream that to me as well. So I got a kick out of them. I think they're great. I think anytime I see some sort of apparel with the true flat double T, we are the flat double T truthers here with this one. It doesn't have the little stand on the bottom. It's just its own little thing. And so anytime I see any apparel with that, I'm definitely going to be eyeing to make a purchase. So I think it's great. I think it's really cool that I know that obviously the school was in 1923, had their centennial a couple of years ago. Part of the reason we are the 23 Personnel podcast is because of that. And we also like goal line formations. But celebrating 100 years in football is pretty darn special too, especially considering that they were able to throw a team together within the first 2 years and get some people out there playing out here on the plains.
Yeah. I don't want to be a downer. I don't know how I feel about all the different elements. It kind of feels to me a little bit too mashed up, like there's too much going on. Like there are, like the helmets are from one era, the big tech across the chest is from one era. The pant stripe is from one era, like the shoulder. So like it just feels like
I love that shoulder stripe thing.
I do too. That's my favorite part. Because
so cool.
that's pulled from the uniform that like is on my avatar on Discord from I think the 25, like those first few years. It's not like the sweaters where it just says tech, which is where the big tech on the chest comes from. I love how big the numbers are. Like that's very reminiscent of like old jerseys, like the big numbers that go all the way across. It doesn't speak to me because I'm not a longtime tech fan. I'm 36 and I've been a fan of Texas Tech football for almost 20 years. So nothing in this uniform is from an era that I watched Tech football in, if that makes sense. Like everything predates it. There are things I like about it. Like I said, the shoulder patch is probably my favorite. With the go back and look at it again. Yeah, you got the 5 vertical stripes in the Texas Tech double T in there. There in the middle. Michael will rejoin momentarily. It just feels a lot like the Texas Rangers outfield dimensions. And if you probably have to go on the stadium tour to catch all of the significance and the numbers and why things are the way they are. It means something for longtime Rangers fans and the history of the team, and doesn't really mean much to anybody else. And that's where a lot of these things come from with the jersey elements. Does it mean I don't like it? No, it just like I said, it felt like it was a lot to try to cram together. Individually, they're all kind of neat, cool. I've got pieces of that are more favorite that I like better than others. But I am overall a big fan of it. Excuse me. All right. Last thing we want to touch on before we get to the Big 12 projections, now that we're 40 minutes in. Kickoff Luncheon is coming up. I believe there are still tickets available Thursday, August 21st at the Civic Center. $30 per seat, $7.50 for a table. Doors open at 11:15. Program starts at noon. The the podcast with Gio and McGuire. McGuire talked about so many guys on the staff being new. You said you got to get ready for this because it's nothing like anywhere else. He said even when he was at Baylor, there was nothing like this, at least back then. I don't know what they do now or if they do anything like it, but just how it's like it really is the kickoff to the season. That is just unbelievable. Sorry. Fan support. Unlike anywhere he's ever been. So if you haven't secured your tickets, do so. Let me check really quickly to see if that is still available. Michael is rejoining. Welcome.
I think I'm back for what it's
He's
worth.
back. He's back.
Yes.
We were wrapped
I'm
up
so back.
the uniform. Do you have any last thoughts before we move on to the kickoff luncheon?
I'm good.
Okay.
Nathan
says,
talk
hold
food.
on. It says, Nathan says, I love the shoulders, even if they look like my grandma with glaucoma, hand cut and stitch the material on them. It's a little rough.
That's
but
perfect. That's exactly that's why I like them. It looks like it was, hey, we've got to put some double T's on this stuff. Oh man, what should it look like? I don't know. Let's do that. Okay. Can you do that 24 times or whatever, however many was on that first team? Sure. We got it. Close enough. So are you checking to see if there's still tickies available for the
it
the
looks like
Thursday
you can still
luncheon?
purchase tickets for the luncheon on Thursday, yes. And I was also talking about how Gio and McGuire talked about on the latest episode of the podcast. Why can't I think of the name of that stupid podcast? It's not
I
stupid.
think it's just called What's Next.
That would be funny.
I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, they recently talked about it and how he just was ranting and raving about how it's nothing like anything he's ever seen. It's great. He was telling the new guys, like, be prepared because it's just unbelievable. Shield Wood and Mac Leftwich and even some of the guys. Anyways. All right. Time has come, Michael. Let's do our Big 12 predictions. Let's start with
Okay.
I'm going to run through every team's Vegas season win total, and then we'll go through their schedule really quickly. Okay?
Okay.
All right. In order, we've got 4 teams at the top at 8.5. Kansas State, Texas Tech, Arizona State, Utah, all at 8.5. Next up, you've got 3 teams at 7.5. Iowa State, Kansas, Baylor. Then you've got 4 teams at 6.5. BYU, Houston, TCU, Cincinnati, Colorado, 6, but we're going to say 5.5. They're going to sit there with West Virginia and UCF, and then 2 teams under that, 4.5, Arizona and Oklahoma State. Michael and I have done this for several seasons. We have a schedule matrix of the entire Big 12. Now it takes quite a wide spreadsheet to get all the teams on there. Michael's got it built in to where we can just track. We say this game's going to be a win, colors it in, then tracks at the bottom win totals for us, all that fun stuff. Michael, if you were a true pro on Excel or Google Docs, you'd have it line up to where, the corresponding game on the other team's schedule would autofill, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. I need to work on that.
I can't do it either.
I'm not a sheets maestro. I do have some wily ways with Excel, but with sheets, it's just kind of like just getting by, just making it work.
Yeah,
as best I can.
Do you want to go alphabetical through the conference? You want to go contenders? You want to break it into tiers? What do you think about the win totals?
Which screen are we going to be mostly looking at?
I don't know. I'm going to be looking at my 2025 projection screen. I'm going to go through mine. I assumed you would go through yours. We talked game by game quickly through each team's schedule.
Okay, then let's do alphabetical then,
All right.
because I
Starting
want to
left,
do the same thing.
left to right. Arizona. I have them. Let's see. Well, I guess Kansas State is technically non-conference. I was going to say sweeping non-conference. I have them winning home versus Hawaii, home versus Weber State, losing at home to Kansas State before they hit their first bye. 2-1. You
Same.
okay? Get a bye week. Okay, then they get 4 games in this next little stretch. I've got them. They're on the road at Iowa State. I've got them losing that one, coming back home versus Oklahoma State, BYU. I've got them splitting those two, winning Oklahoma State, losing to BYU, and then going on the road to Houston, losing to the Cougars. So by the time they hit their second bye, 7 games in, they are 3-4.
Exact same.
Okay. Their final 5 games of the season at Colorado, I've got as a loss. Home versus Kansas, I have as a win because I had to find wins for them somewhere. On the road at Cincinnati is a loss. On the road at Baylor is a loss. Sorry, home versus Baylor is a loss. And then on the road to Arizona State, also a loss. I've got them going 4-5. So just under their 4.5.
That's uncanny, man. I don't think we'll do this the rest of the time, but that's exactly what I did. I have them going 4-8 with their only wins hosting Hawaii, Weber State, Oklahoma State, and Kansas. So they'll all 4 be at home. So Arizona, same here. So I'm picking the under. The line was 4.5. I'll have the under here. So they cleaned house after last year. There was so much red on both sides of the ball here. Their scoring offense was 114th in the country. Scoring defense was 109th. They switched up the OCs. There's a guy you may have heard of with a bit of a Red Raider pedigree, Mr. Seth Dagey, came in from Marshall. He's their new offensive coordinator. Danny Gonzalez is their new defensive coordinator after Brennan kind of tried to demote one of his guys back to a defensive backs coach, and he said, nah, no thanks. I'm going to go somewhere else. And so anyway, brought in Danny Gonzalez, who runs a 3-3-5. So
Don't they all at this point now?
Yeah, I know. I feel like that's kind of the hip, cool thing to do. But anyway, I mean, we're talking about a team that, I mean, Fafita's still there. That's great. This will be a common thread on our preview. You know, about half of these teams have a quarterback set, and about half of them are still battling. But that's one position that's set for Daggy as he takes over here. So I don't know. I mean, they've got 55 new players on the team, and just came off of a really bad season last year with including an 0-5 stretch, a stretch where they went 1-7. I mean, they've got a lot of work to do. So, yep, 2 new coordinators and a whole bunch of new guys with a second-year coach. Does not sound like a recipe for a good season.
And it's not that they just brought in like a bunch of new players. We've seen teams do that. They brought in 55 new players, but if you look at their rankings, none of them were 5 stars. Sorry, or 4 stars. Like they're gonna have to find some diamonds in the rough and develop them quickly in a conference where they're already behind and seemingly falling further behind. So
yes, I mean, rushing offense 120th in the country last year. Rushing defense 98th, passing defense 103rd. I mean, they were the bottom of a lot of stats last year, and I don't think that's going to get magically fixed this year.
nope. Arizona State.
Oh,
They start off a 5-game stretch before they hit their first bye. In that stretch, Michael, I've got them 4-1.
Ooh, I've got 5-0. Who are they losing to?
I think they're losing in Waco.
Okay, so I guess we should say so they will host Northern Arizona. That's a win. They will go to Mississippi State. That's a win. They will host Texas State. That's a win. They will
You and
go
I
to
have them,
Waco.
yeah. So we differ here. I've got them traveling to
Yes.
Waco and losing.
We disagree. I have them winning in Waco, and
And then
then
coming back home to host TCU and winning that one.
yep. So I've got them. I've got them 5-0 through the bye week.
I am higher on Baylor than I thought I would be. You can blame Brett Ciancia from Pick 6 previews. And Bill Connolly. The more I've looked into it, the more I think like their 7.5 is going to be. They may overperform that by a bit. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, I've got them. I've got Arizona State 4-1. I tried to. Oh, hold on. I guess let's get to the rest of the schedule. I've got their next 4, Michael, between their 2 bye weeks. I've got them going 2-2.
Sorry, I've got to switch windows back. Let's see, where do I have? So their next 4. So do I.
So they go to Utah, host Texas Tech. I've got them losing both of those.
I have them going to Utah and losing, just because that sounds like a thing that could potentially randomly happen, and then beating Texas Tech at home. I know.
And then hosting Houston, winning that one, going on the road to Iowa State, winning that one.
I agree with those two.
Okay. And then finishing out the season, home versus West Virginia, on the road at Colorado, back home versus Arizona, going 3-0 in that stretch. For me, going 9-3.
Chalk for those 3, and I wound up with 10-2 with the Arizona State. What are they? Sun Devils?
Sun Devils. Because you and I disagreed on if they were going to beat Baylor.
Yes. Yeah, so definitely taking the over there. I mean, they've got the best quarterback possibly. Well, okay, hang on. Not the best quarterback, not named Baron Morton.
There you go.
Coming back for just a sophomore season. They've got 7 returners on offense. They've got 9 returners on defense. And this is the team that only lost 3 games last year, and one of them was in double overtime in a college playoff game. So this is a really good team who brought a lot of guys back. Scadaboo, of course, is it's almost like his name is what he is, like the mystery, like the secret sauce. He's the Scadaboo of their team. We don't know who's going to fill that void exactly.
And they have a handful of guys that could do it. I'm going to read from the preview here. Kyson Brown, Army transfer, who put up 1,100 yards and almost 6.5 yards per carry. And then Raleek Brown, who was a top 100 recruit, but was injured last year. Like all 3 of those guys could committee that thing. I wanted to find holes in this offense that like could not be replaced. Scadaboo was going to be too much of a loss for them to be able to overcome. I didn't realize just how good of a team or how good of a quarterback Sam Levitt was, and as a freshman, he's going to have his second year under the coordinator, which typically you get a bump there. Returning his number 1 receiver and returning a veteran offensive line. I mean, that offensively sounds like they should be pretty good. They're returning 4 of their 5 on the offensive line. Defensively, they were one of the more improved units in the country. And they're returning 9 starters on that side of the ball. All Big 12 stars at each level. It's hard. Like 9-3, and still like one of the best in the. And in the conference.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they have the second most returning defensive production in the country, fifth most returning offensive, and they were, scoring 33 points a game last year and only allowing 22.6. It's it's a pretty good team that I'm sure that lost some pieces that especially Arizona State fans will go, hey, but this guy was really crucial. Um, I'm sure that's true, but from us guys outside looking in, they look like they're pretty loaded and primed to get back to the Big 12 championship.
yeah, potentially. I actually have a couple
Potentially.
teams ahead of them.
Oh, you do? Ooh, I don't.
All right. Baylor. They start their season with 6 straight. And by the time they hit their first bye week, Michael, I've got them 5-1. I think
Oh,
they host Auburn and win. Auburn is a hot mess. I think they travel. It's not that big of a deal. Travel to SMU and knock off SMU. Back home versus Stanford. We already talked about them hosting Arizona State. They go to Stillwater. I think they win all of those and then lose their first game home versus Kansas State.
I'm a little bit higher on the Bears than I thought I would be, but not as high as you apparently. I have them going 3-3 this stretch.
Whoa.
Off to kind of a rocky start.
They had a rocky start last season.
I know, and they did figure it out. I mean, they started off, what was it, 2-4, and then it ended 6-0.
6-0. They surged.
They did, and so I don't want to say history is going to repeat itself in that fashion, but I do have them winning on the road or winning at home versus Auburn. I do have them losing on the road to SMU. I think SMU may still have some magic left. They will win at home versus Samford. I have them losing at home.
Sorry.
No,
I think I said
you're good.
Stanford, but I meant Samford.
You did, but right next to Samford is BYU playing Stanford the week before. So I think I see how that happened. So week 4, have them losing at home versus Arizona State because I'm very high on Arizona State, as you all have just heard. I have them losing in Stillwater because that just sounds like something that could happen, potentially.
Hey, it could happen.
Yeah. It could happen. I will say, not to spoil anything, but this is probably the lowest I've been on Oklahoma State since we've started this podcast. So don't expect me to be like, well, it's because Oklahoma State's going to go 9-3, and nope. But I do have them winning at home versus Kansas State. I'm talking myself into trying to be low on Kansas State this year. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm putting it out there. Okay. So 3-3, that first stretch running into the bye week.
All right, they have 3 games following their first bye. On the road at TCU, I've got the Horned Frogs taking that one. They're on the road at Cincinnati. Baylor bounces back, wins that one. And back home versus UCF, I've got the Bears winning that one. So 2-1 in that stretch. What you got?
Same here. Same exact thing.
And they wrap up the season home versus Utah. I got them losing that one. On the road at Arizona, winning that one. Back home versus Houston and winning that one.
I have them going 3-0 to end the season. Well, 5-0 technically.
I've got them going
4-1. 8-4.
I've got 9-3.
All right.
I could see them flipping a game. I don't know where. Maybe Oklahoma State, maybe Arizona State. But like I said, they had a phenomenal end to the season last year. Their top 10 ranking and returning production. I think. I mean, they're bringing a bunch back, but they're also they added a bunch of good stuff. I mean, they've got a good quarterback. They've got good running backs coming back.
Oh yeah, they've got one of the best, if not the best, running back in the Big 12.
Washington
had. Yeah, well, it's a 1-2 punch too. Washington with 1,000 yards plus last year. Pendergrass with 600. One of the few teams in this entire league that's not having a running back by committee. I feel like that's, well, I mean, I guess it's a very small committee, but that paired with Spavital's second season there, I mean, he made such a jump. They let's see, Brett's got it in here. What'd they do? 2023 season before he got there, they were 53rd in offense of the 68 Power 4 teams. After the first 6 games last year where they went 2-4, they were 43rd. And then when they finished for those last 7 games, including the bowl game, they were 7th. So really started hitting their stride offensively, and you can see that in the stats. I mean, they were scoring almost 35 points a game, rushing 180 yards a game, throwing 260. It was a lot better than I thought, because I think I got what do you, the technical term I believe is butt hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So when Baylor just absolutely kicked the snot out of Texas Tech 59-35 as a 1-4 team, I was, no, they were 2-4 at that point. Sorry. We were the beginning of their 6-0 run. So hats off to us. But anyway, yeah, going back to the technical term, I was butthurt when that happened about that. And then I just completely lost track of Baylor for the rest of the year and didn't care to follow them or see what they were doing, and just assumed that it was just fluky that they got those other 5 wins after Texas Tech. I don't think that's the case, and I think they've got a lot of guys coming back, and they've got some newer guys. I think Josh Cameron on the receiving end, and there's a linebacker, Keaton Thomas, I think. A couple of guys to look out for too. So it's, I hate to say it, but I mean, yeah, I kind of forced them to go 8-4 in my scenario, Spencer. I was trying not to be too high on them. I think late I switched them losing in Stillwater just to kind of not have. I think I had 3 or 4 9-3 teams, and I thought, let me drop Baylor down 1, but we'll see. I could be. I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to be pretty darn good.
I think I only have 2 9-3 teams, but Nathan does point out Pendergrass is out for the season. Missed that, but Washington's still pretty good.
Yep.
All right, we got to kick this into gear. BYU, they get a short run up on the season. They go 2-0 before their first bye. Portland State and Stanford. Then they go on a 6-game stretch: East Carolina, Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona, Utah, Iowa State. I've got them losing all of that. Just kidding. No, I've got them losing at East Carolina and at Colorado. I've got them bouncing back at home versus West Virginia, on the road versus Arizona, back home versus Utah. They can get those 3 wins. And then losing on the road to Iowa State. So that 6-game stretch, I've got them going 3-3.
Okay, I think, let's see. Okay, so the first 2, yep, we agree on those 2. And then I have them going 3-3 that stretch as well. But I have them losing on the road to East Carolina, winning on the road in Colorado, hosting West Virginia, just because I had to throw in a loss somewhere.
You got to throw West Virginia in bone. Spoiler, I had a hard time finding win. Like, it's probably going to be like a lot like Arizona State. I was like, they could go like 1-11 this year, and they obviously didn't. But
right. Then I have them winning on the road in Arizona, winning when Utah comes to town, but losing on the road to Ames.
Yeah. So
to Ames, sorry.
We
Ames.
just flipped Colorado and West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a couple in there. I'm pretty high on BYU. It's, I know we're not done here yet, but
I've got them going over on their 6.5, but
me too.
Barely. The final 4 for them in Lubbock: loss, home versus TCU. I've got them losing that one. On the road at Cincinnati, winning that one. Back home versus UCF, winning that one to finish out 7-5, which may be a pretty significant, run for them considering they are having to scrap, their plans, losing Retzlaff here late. And I think they just named,
Yeah, today.
what's his name? Bear Bachmeyer,
Bachmeyer.
transferred in from Stanford. So
Yep, he was just
how do
named
you,
today.
how do you have them finishing out the season, Michael?
I have them. Okay, I had to pick this too. That I have them beating Texas Tech, but because
What?
I had to, I'm having to temper my expectations with my Red Raiders, Spencer. That's why. That is really why. Because they're coming
But
off
not
of a
with
bye
this,
week.
not with this BYU team.
Yeah. I mean, Bear
This is-
Bachmeyer, he's got it figured out. I think what helps them out though is their defense. They allowed under 20 points a game last year. Um,
They
rushing defense was 126 yards per game. Passing defense was 183. I just think that they are losing
183
some
yards
guys.
per game.
Yeah, sorry, what did I say?
Well, no, you said 183. And for some reason, I thought that was like a ranking. No.
Oh, no, my bad. But yeah, I think last year, obviously, this is a team that just lost 2 games last year. And one of them was to the Big 12 champion. So I want to have that in mind. LJ Martin looks like a running back that can come in and do some work. He had 700 yards last year. I was really, like I said, just really surprised at how much the defense performed better than I remembered. And they've got a couple of really key players in Glasker and Sack Kelly. Jack Kelly. No, his name is Sack Kelly coming at you. So I'm kind of high on BYU. I have them going 9-3, which is probably insane now that I say it out loud. And I really should switch that Texas Tech one, but man, that would put Texas Tech in some rarefied territory if I did that. And I don't know if my heart's ready to do it yet. I don't know if I'm ready to accept a double-digit win Texas Tech team just yet.
Here's okay. So they're replacing their quarterback. They're replacing 3 returning wide receivers and 3 returners along the offensive line. There's enough offensive churn there and say, well, it's going to have to be on defense. Now, to your point, like they were pretty good defensively, like especially against the pass. They held 3rd best in all of the Power 5, quarterback rating. Only 6 yards per attempt, 180 passing yards per game, 10th best completion percentage allowed. Like really good. Against the run, good, not really good. Like it's a good defense, right? And they're just replacing so much though. The entire defensive line, a linebacker, a safety, and both corners.
You make a lot of good points.
All right. I've got them going 7-5. Yes, it's obviously a step back. I think they were obviously they overperformed last season, but I think they're coming back a little bit. Still over on their season win projection. All right, you have UCF here. That's not technically alphabetical unless you go by Central Florida, not University of Central Florida, but we'll leave it here.
Well, that's
UCF.
that's how the official Matrix had it.
Well, we'll let it slide, Michael. We'll let it slide. Over under for them 5.5. Let me find out. They start the season home versus Jacksonville State and North Carolina A&T. I've got them winning both of those.
Same.
Then they have a 5-game stretch, Michael, where I have them going 1-4.
Same. What's the one win?
Winning home versus West Virginia.
Same. So we both have them losing to Bill Belichick's fighting Tar Heels when they come to town, losing on the road in Kansas State, losing when the Kansas Jayhawks come to town, and losing on the road to the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah. And they wrap
Yeah.
up the season on the road at Baylor, home versus Houston, on the road at Texas Tech. I've got 3 losses there. Home versus Oklahoma State, winning that one, and then on the road at BYU, losing that one. So finishing out 1-5, going 4-8 on the season.
My only differences on that last stretch, I do have them beating Houston at home for a 5-7 season, but that has us both taking the 5.5 under with the Golden Knights. Now, what's interesting about them is this isn't the first team on our list that is rehiring a former coach, but we're at the Scott Frost experiment part 2. UCF is also undergoing a quarterback battle right now, which is ongoing as far as I know. I tried to look at that before we started, and I didn't see it. I didn't see a definitive answer. I don't think I did. Every single receiver who caught a pass in 2024 is no longer on the team.
Mm-hmm. They're missing
Alex,
their. Sorry.
no, you're
I was
good.
gonna say,
Alex Grinch is the DC.
don't love that
I mean,
for him.
I think there's. We'll see. We'll see how the Scott Frost thing goes, but yeah, it could be a rough year. Could be a rough year for the fans in Orlando.
Yeah. So. Yeah, their options at quarterback aren't great. I like that they hired Mackenzie Milton to come back and be their quarterbacks coach. You remember he was a good quarterback for them not that long ago. But like they don't have great options at quarterback. They're missing their superhuman RJ Harvey running back from last season. I mean, shoot, they were top 5 and in the Power 5 and basically every rushing statistic last season. Rushing offense, almost 250 yards a game, yards per carry, 5.8 yards. O-line pass rush, O-line run push and explosive rushes. They were all top 5 in that. Passing offense, the opposite. They were, bottom of the barrel there. They are returning. Well, sorry, 47% of their returning production is coming back on the offensive side, 48% on defensive side. So I've got it 4-8. Even that feels kind of optimistic. Cincinnati, they have a 3-game homestand to open their season, starting off Thursday night with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Bowling Green, and Northwestern State.
I picked a horrible color for that. That is a neutral site game. It looks so much better on my computer at home. That is at Arrowhead.
Yeah, we talked about that. Okay.
I know that's my bad. I picked like the closest purple you could think of that looks gray. So that's on me.
That makes sense. Okay. I've got them losing that one to Nebraska, winning against Bowling Green and Northwestern State.
I got them on a 3-0 start heading to that bye week. Down go the
Wow.
Cornhuskers.
Call me Big Ten Rob, I guess.
Yeah.
So 2-1, 3-0 going to the bye week. Then they get Kansas on the road, Iowa State at home, UCF at home, Oklahoma State on the road, Baylor at home, Utah on the road. That is, I don't know. I've got them going 2-5 in that stretch, beating only Kansas and UCF.
Okay, I've got them getting 3 more wins in that little window.
Whoa, you've got them going 5-2.
Well, let me see. 6-3.
I can't count. That's a 6-game stretch there.
No, you're good. So that's why I was trying to catch up. I have them losing in Kansas, but winning at home versus Iowa State and UCF before losing in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City. Oh my gosh, losing in Stillwater, losing at home versus Baylor, and then winning on the road in probably what's going to be a pretty good little upset versus Utah.
Defend.
I just want Utah to hurt. I want Utah to hurt this year.
I would love Utah to hurt. They just get the softest schedule I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, of the 5 or 6 starting quarterbacks actually returning, Cincinnati has one of them with Brennan Sorsby. This was a team that was a missed field goal away from beating Texas Tech at home just last year.
Tying Texas
or
Tech.
tying.
You watch your
Okay,
mouth.
fair enough. They have a tight end who has already broken Kelsey's reception record. I am slightly concerned with how they ended the year last year. You know, they started off at 5-2, went 0-5 there at the end of the year, and they also lost. This is a good little stat from Brett. They lost 4 starters on the offensive line, their top 6 receivers, and a 1,200-yard running back. But you know, I still think that they will take down Utah on the road.
I mean, that's okay. All right, their final 3 on the schedule: home versus Arizona, I've got them winning that one. Home versus BYU, I've got them losing that one. On the road at TCU, losing that one to finish 5-7.
I have the same final 3 game stretch as you, but I have 7-5. So that's the first one we've disagreed on the over under.
Most. Yeah. Okay, so the over under for Cincinnati is 6.5. It's probably one of the teams I've got the largest variance from that.
I'm taking the over.
Colorado.
Go Bearcats.
I think we said 6 or 5.5.
5.5, yeah.
I'm going under.
Same.
They have a 7-game stretch before they hit their first bye. Home versus Georgia Tech, I've got them losing that one. Home versus Delaware, I've got them winning that one. On the road in Houston, losing that one. Home versus Wyoming, I've got them losing that one. Maybe I should flip that one. Home versus BYU, winning that one. Okay, I have no grasp on Colorado, I'm feeling like. On the road at TCU, losing that one. Sorry, winning versus BYU, losing versus TCU, losing at home versus Iowa State.
So, where are your 4 wins? Okay, I have Georgia Tech as a win. Wait, did you have 4 wins there or 3?
I've got 2.
Okay, what are your 2 wins? Sorry. Let's start
Delaware and BYU.
So I have their 2 wins only being the first 2. I think I mean, I would not be surprised if Georgia Tech rolled in and won that game, but I'm giving Colorado the benefit of the doubt as a home field advantage. The place will be packed, place will be rocking. Deion's health crisis and whatnot will get the fans back in, you know, and they're going to be kind of nervous, excited about what this team's going to look like with the Sanders gone and Hunter gone. So I think that there's a chance that Georgia Tech could come in and spoil that party, but I've got Colorado winning, but I only have them winning 1 more until their bye week. So they win the first 2 and then they lose 5 in a row.
Yeah. I could also see them beating Wyoming at home. Just
I could too. I feel like either of those. I just chose that they would beat Georgia Tech but lose to Wyoming.
Yeah. Then they get a short 3-game stretch there between their 2 bye weeks. On the road at Utah, I've got them losing that one. Home versus Arizona, winning that one. On the road at West Virginia, this was a toss-up. I probably should flip this, but I gave the win to Colorado here. I'm going 2-1 in that stretch.
Same. I'm sorry. I can't remember what you said at first, but I'm having losing in Utah, winning at home
Same.
versus Arizona, and winning in Morgantown.
Yep. And then finishing out, I see this is where I messed up. I wrote that they're going to beat Arizona State. That is false because I've got Arizona State winning that one in the other column. So got them losing home versus Arizona State, losing on the road, Kansas State, going 4-8 under their season total of 6, 5.5, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I have them also winning the last two, which also has them at 4-8 on mine.
I don't know what Sanders is going to do without Shador and Hunter. They have to reload the receivers. They brought in a great, highly rated quarterback, but unproven. They have to replace the defensive line, which is what kept them in a lot of games.
Yeah, their
they've
defense
got
kind of
talent,
snuck up on me. Yeah, go ahead.
but there's so much wildcatness to them. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith.
Yeah, they were one of the most improved defenses in all of college football last year. And you touched on the quarterback coming in, Caden Salter. He has 4 years of experience at Liberty. Had a 20-4 record the past 2 seasons there. He's kind of a dual threat guy with almost 3,000 passing yards and 1,100 rushing yards in 2023. So he's got some experience, but kind of behind a lot of unproven guys. I feel this is interesting to look at a team like this who's doing a lot of what Tech is trying to do in the portal, but to feel completely different about it. Yeah. Feel like, I don't know, this is just a lot of unknown guys, a lot of portal additions. Who knows how that's going to work out? Sure, that's how I feel, and that is kind of how we feel about our Red Raiders, but also there's a lot more other things to kind of keep us a little bit more optimistic. And, we didn't lose a Heisman winner off of our squad last year, so that played both ways.
Yeah. All right, Houston, they're under over 6.5. Picked 11th in the Big 12. I've got them a little bit better than that. I've got a 3-0 start, winning at home versus Stephen F. Austin, on the road at Rice, back home versus Colorado.
Same.
Then they lose their next 3 at Oregon State, home versus Texas Tech, on the road at Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Same. Winning at home versus Arizona, losing on the road at Arizona State, winning at home versus West Virginia, and then winning on the road at UCF.
Ooh, my one change is I have them losing on the road at UCF.
Okay. And then I've got them winning at home versus TCU. I like TCU, but I was going with a little bit of a surge here in Houston and didn't want to give too many wins to TCU. And then losing on the road at Baylor to finish out the season 7-5. Although 6-6 is probably a decent bounce back for them, but
so I've got them losing to TCU and Baylor to end the season, bring them to 5-7. So we are on opposite sides of the line here too. So the line was 6.5, and you're going over, and I'm going under.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be better at quarterback with Connor Wegman versus, who they had last year. Donovan Smith, Dogman, Zion Chris. I think I think they're, based on the previews I'm reading, their offensive line should be better. Yes, they lost their coordinator on defense to Texas Tech. Yeah. And a couple of starters and key contributors, but they signed the 3rd best recruiting class behind Texas Tech and Colorado, I believe. So I think Houston is on their way back. I just like them in a couple of key spots here to get them into a bowl game.
Yeah, they're this is also the first year for their offensive coordinator too, because they fired, I think Barbe. I
Yeah,
think they
but then
fired him before the last game.
yeah, they fired him
Um,
mid-season last year.
yeah, which makes sense because when your scoring offense averages 14 points per game, 14. It took them 3 games to score a touchdown in Big 12 play, Spencer. They didn't score a touchdown until
Yeah, I
their
remember that
third
now.
game against TCU, which they somehow won. So that makes no sense. But the offense was just abysmally bad last year. 153 yards per game. That's 100 on passing. That's 126th in the country. That scoring offense of 14 points per game was 133 points per play, 0.24. 0.24. That's 134th in the country. So he had to go. They hired Slade Nagel, which sounds like an old timey bank robber or something, uh, from Tulane. And I think he brought a bunch of guys with him. And obviously, with Fritz's connection to
It's
Tulane,
Fritz's
that's
system.
should be a pretty good fit. But yeah, a completely new offensive and defensive staff, which is too bad because losing Shield Wood, this was a guy who brought their defense up 9 points per game in a year and 100 yards per game. Spencer, that's huge. They only allowed 23 points per game last year.
23, you say?
Yeah, with the personnel they had, not
Which
too
has
bad.
me really excited about what Shieldwood can do for Texas Tech.
Same. So, the guy they got is Austin Armstrong. Seems like he's kind of been a few places. He was a DC at Florida. That kind of went well, depending on which game you look at. So I think there's a lot of question marks with the Cougars. I'm not quite up into that 7-5 territory with you yet. I'm going 5-7.
Yeah. Iowa State. I am not a believer. I have them
Go on.
losing to Kansas State, beating South Dakota, maybe, losing to Iowa, and beating Arkansas State, going 2-2 to start the season.
Exact same.
Okay. I've got them winning the next 3. So a little bit of momentum here between their bye weeks. Well, they've got 3 of them because they get week 0. Winning home versus Arizona, on the road versus Cincinnati. I think you like Cincinnati a lot more than I do. And then on the road at Colorado.
Which is exactly why I have them losing on the road in Cincinnati.
Okay. So I've got them on a little 5-game heater here, and they come off of their second bye week, home versus BYU, to win that one. They're feeling pretty good about themselves, getting to 5-2, and then lose Arizona State, TCU. Got them beating Kansas and then losing Oklahoma State. So they go 7-5 to finish the season, losing to Arizona State, TCU, and Oklahoma State to finish out the season with a Kansas win there in the middle.
Mine's similar. I have them beating Arizona State just to have some weird wild card thing happen at home. That just I needed Arizona State to lose a game somewhere, and I thought, well, why not in Ames? And that's really kind of my reasoning there. So I also have Iowa State going 7-5
in November too. So
we got there to different methods.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean Rocco Beck is back.
But literally nobody else.
That's that's it. That's the good thing.
Like they brought in 20 returning starters a season ago. This year they're only bringing in 10.
Yeah, my notes, because I thought, man, they must have been just really outstanding offensively and or defensively last year. I wrote this down. Somehow they were mid at everything except pass defense last year. They were. You look at everything, they're like 40, 50, 60 in almost every single category except pass defense. They were number 1. Number 1 in the country. And I guess that makes a difference in our conference, but yeah, nothing else stands out. They just, I think, they won a lot of close games. a lot of one-score games, and we're able to play some decent defense and
Yeah.
keep the games close.
So on the defensive side, they're replacing 4 of their top 5 linemen. They're losing secondary stars. I mean, they did what they did last season with 10 wins with all the returning starters. But they're losing so much. And they're not replacing it at the same clip. Becht is good. I don't think he's that good. So I don't know. I got him 7-5. Kansas. They thought they were getting reinvigorated, but I don't. They have a projection 7.5. I've got them not snug. I've got them firmly under. Even with the new stadium bump, if you want to call it that. They open the season this weekend, home versus Fresno State. You get to get a look at their new stadium. I've got them winning that game, winning home versus Wagner, hitting the road versus Missouri, but losing that one, starting 2-1.
Same for me.
Home versus West Virginia, winning that one. Home versus Cincinnati, losing that one. Because I like Cincinnati better than I like Kansas here. On the road at UCF, winning that one. On the road at Texas Tech, losing that one.
I think my only difference there is I do have them winning at home against Cincinnati.
Okay. Then their second bye week. They come off of that to host Kansas State. I've got them winning that one. Home versus Oklahoma State, winning that one. Losing at Arizona.
Same 3 there. I feel like this will be the year that I'm kind of down on Kansas State. That's all I'm getting at. And we can get into that next because that's just alphabetically next.
I'm just not as hot on Kansas State. I'm not down on them. I'm just not as hot on. And then they wrap up at Iowa State, losing that one. Home versus Utah, losing that one to go 6-6.
I have them losing those last 2 games as well, but I have them 7-5, and I can't remember what the difference was.
It was somewhere. The Cincinnati game. You had them winning.
Oh, that's right. That's right. 7-5. So we both have the under because the line was 7.5.
We agree. Kansas State, neutral site game. Iowa State. Well, okay. They start the season 4 games. Iowa State, North Dakota, Army, Arizona. I've got them going 4-0.
All right, let me see. Let me get back to the right street. I have them losing at home versus Army.
Spicy. Okay.
That seems like a thing they could do.
Okay. I'd love to see it.
Matt Wells is their OC. Have you mentioned that yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I was going to save that to justify where I've got them doing what they're doing.
You were appalled that I could see them losing at home to Army, so I thought, let me
the problem
at least
with
say
playing,
one reason.
The problem with playing Army and potentially losing is defensively having to play them. Matt Wells doesn't have anything to do with that.
But, well, sure, but his the passing offense last year was yuck. This Avery Johnson guy is supposed to be really good, but to have such a good rushing offense and number 85 passing offense, come on.
I think it's going to get worse.
That's where I'm going. That's why I'm
Matt Wells ain't the answer there.
I don't think so, guys.
All right.
Jaron Bradley isn't going to.
He is walking through that door, but he ain't doing much. All right. Then they get UCF at home, Baylor on the road, TCU at home. I've got them going 2-1, winning their home games, beating UCF and TCU at home, losing on the road to Baylor.
Exact same.
Okay. Then they get a little 2-game stretch at Kansas, losing that one. Home versus Texas Tech, losing that one.
Yes. 0-2 in that stretch, baby. We're getting it. We're getting the revenge.
And then they come back on the road to Oklahoma State, winning that one. On the road at Utah, losing that one. Home versus Colorado, winning that one. I've got them going 8-4. I feel like that's probably a little strong for them now, but I'm also at a spot where like I've doubted them for too long. They figure out a way to win 8 games. So
I get that, but that's not going to happen this year. I've got them 6-6. I have them losing in Stillwater, losing in Utah, and then finishing it with a win at home versus Colorado. So I just, I kind of told myself like the last few years I've thought highly of Kansas State and Oklahoma State, and I thought I'm just not going to do it this year. I'm going to talk myself into reasons why that this is going to flip, damn it. And one of them is because Texas Tech is going to beat both of them. So there you go. You're starting off 0-1 already from both of my lists if you are Kansas State or Oklahoma State.
all right, well, Oklahoma State's up next. Their over under for the season is 4.5. I like them more than that.
How much more?
5-7. Not 5 more.
I'm actually, I talked a big game. I got him up to 7-5, Spencer.
All right. How we get there? They start the season home versus UT Martin. They're winning that game. On the road at Oregon. Yikes. Losing that one.
Giant L. 1-1. 1-1 to start.
And then they get a break. Come back to host Tulsa. I think they're going to win that one. Host Baylor. I've got them losing that one. On the road at Arizona. I've got them losing that one. I think I like Arizona a little. I mean, shoot, I've got them going 4-8, but beating Oklahoma State here. Mainly because it's a home game. Coming back, hosting Houston, winning that one. Hosting Cincinnati, winning that one. Traveling to Texas Tech, losing that one. Traveling to Kansas, losing that one.
I think
so they
the only
go
difference
3-4 in that stretch between their 2 bye weeks.
I have them going 4-3 in that stretch. I have them beating Baylor at home just because I needed Baylor to have another loss.
Understood. Then they come out of the bye week to host Kansas State. I've got them losing that one. On the road at UCF, losing that one. Somehow beating Iowa State. This was like that weird, like I needed a weirdness game to finish the season in Stillwater. I mean, Oklahoma State's out of contention for a bowl game, but Iowa State's already secured their bowl game at that point. So I don't know. I've just got Oklahoma State taking that one. Win that one, but still finish 5-7. So they finish over, but
I think we had the same last stretch. I've got them winning at home versus Kansas State, losing on the road in Orlando, and then winning at home versus Iowa State, which those things don't make a lot of sense, but
no.
I kind of needed some L's for those other teams. And, talking about how abysmal this team was last year, they allowed 36 points per game. They had the 115th rushing offense with 112 yards per game. This is after all the Ollie Gordon hype and everything that came along with it.
They couldn't figure out how to use Ollie Gordon. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, 19 starters are gone. They've fired their OC. They fired their DC. They have a quarterback battle going on, yet somehow my dumbass has them going 7-5, and I'm not sure how I did that. I feel like I need to rework this whole thing, but it would involve, repicking every single game again. So 7-5 seems extremely lofty. I kind of wish I could rework it and figure out how to get them to 4-8 so I could take the under, because this looks biblically bad. They were 129th in rushing defense, 132nd in passing defense. Yeah, it's a total ground up rebuild. You've got everything you need: QB battles and RB running back committees and new coordinators and a team that didn't win a Big 12 game last year. Man, why do I have them 7-5? I hate this.
All right.
But
You've already locked it in, though. You're wrong.
I've locked it in. Yep, it's on the record.
All right, TCU on the road, UNC, Chapel Hill. Got them losing.
Oh, they're taking the win on that one, man. Belichick, he's still figuring it out. He'll figure it out by when did I say? I think when they go to, where did they go? Who else?
UCF.
Yeah, he'll figure it out in Orlando.
By week 6.
Or is that at home? I don't even know. Yeah, no, it's in Orlando.
It's in Orlando.
Yeah.
All right, so they have a wonky schedule. They get 1 week and then a bye. They have the earliest bye week, week 2. So then they get Abilene Christian win at home, SMU at home. I've got them losing that one. Arizona State on the road, losing that one. Colorado at home, winning that one. On the road at Kansas State, losing that one. Home, Baylor win. And then on the road at West Virginia, winning that one. So they go 3-3 in that stretch. Nope, 4-3 in that stretch between their 2 bye weeks.
I think we had the same stretch, except for I have them winning at home versus SMU.
Okay.
So
which I could see.
Yeah.
But see, if I did that, then TCU would win 8 games. I don't like that.
Ooh, I know. Wait till you see what I've got them doing.
I've got them finishing the season 3-1, beating Iowa State at home, beating BYU on the road, losing to Houston on the road, which we've already said all these, obviously, and then beating Cincinnati at home, going 7-5 over their 6.5 win total.
Yeah, I've got them going 3-1 that last stretch, but I have them losing on the road versus BYU and winning on the road in Houston for a 9-3 total. Spencer, I don't like this either. But you're kind of like Baylor. They had a rough start last year, 3-3 start. They had a 6-1 finish though. They did lose their top 2 receivers, but they've got some really good groups that I think are sticking around for the most part, including their pass defense. They only allowed 185 yards per game. That's 23rd in the country. Just everything about their pass defense was pretty excellent. The yards per attempt were 6. They allowed 6 yards per pass attempt. That's 9th in the country. The other thing that really stuck out to me is just their scoring in general. I didn't realize that they were 25th in the country with 34 points per game. But their passing offense was top 10, 313 yards per game. I think they've got a really good group there. And, a lot of these same guys coming back, they're not making coordinator switches this season, at least.
Still Kendall Briles.
Yeah. And I think that, these somehow TCU, all the way back to Patterson, they get defensive backs. They have guys who can defend the pass, and they know how to bring that game a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. So I'm trying to justify it a little bit. I have them going over, but man, 9-3, that surprised me too.
All right. We will skip Texas Tech, get to Utah. Michael, I hate this, but okay. I think they just have such a soft schedule. I have them going 4-1 to open the season, winning at UCLA, home versus Cal Poly, at Wyoming, losing to Texas Tech, at West Virginia.
I have them going 1-4. Complete opposite with the only win at home versus Cal Poly. They're going to limp out of the gate. Just, I mean,
so you are really
on a
low.
rake, step on a rake and break their nose, kind of stuff into their second Big 12 year.
So you obviously aren't a believer in new offensive coordinator Jason Beck, Devin Dampier running behind that all-world offensive line they have. Their stout defense, returning like you're just a Utah hater, which I am too. I just couldn't find any losses. I couldn't find enough losses.
I mean, all credit due to New Mexico, but that's also, I know that's where Beck came from, but that's where their quarterback came from too, who had a 12 touchdown, 12 interception season last year as a freshman. So he's only a sophomore. He's coming into a brand new system. These guys are tasked with taking over.
He just needs to be a lot better passer.
I'm sorry, I meant brand new situation.
Okay,
is more what I meant. Different competition, different level of what you're seeing.
True.
Trying to pull a Utah offense that averaged under 24 points per game last year, 102nd in the country. Trying to pull a passing offense that averaged under 200 yards per game at 98th in the country. Trying to get that going. A team that went 1-7 in the stretch last year. I know injuries decimated everybody, but that's a lot of mojo to turn around for a sophomore transfer Mountain West quarterback and coach.
Understood.
In 4 months.
Where I give them credit though, Michael, is that they are returning their entire offensive line. It's not like they were good offensively and they're just trying to replicate that. Like they were bad offensively. That's why they hired a new offensive coordinator who was what was he? Let me see. Number 1 rushing attack. 250 rushing yards per game. Almost 6.7 yards per carry.
Well, who's their running back going to be? I don't think we know.
Yeah, well, to your point, sure. Their team captain, Micah Bernard, had a 1,000-yard season. He's gone with most of that room. They had to hit the transfer portal hard. Wayshawn Parker, number 4 transfer back this entire cycle, coming over from Washington State. And Naquari Rogers, also from New Mexico. So you get some system similarity there. So
Utah's returning to their Mountain West roots is all I'm hearing.
I just don't think
their defense was good last year. Their defense was very good last year. I'll give them that.
Yeah. So, okay.
Sorry.
We
derailed the whole thing into 5 games. Okay.
Well, because they're picked at 8.5 wins, Michael. I tend to decide more with that than like I just want to be a hater. I just think they just have a pretty simple, pretty easy schedule.
So bad.
Hosting Arizona State. I could see this one going either way. I give the benefit to the home team here. I've got Utah winning this one. Losing on the road to BYU, hosting Colorado, hosting Cincinnati, winning both of those. You could talk me into Cincinnati winning that one if Cincinnati's stronger and I'm just way off base on Utah. But by game 9, I think they should know who they are, and I think they've got things figured out. New system. So
my only difference in that 4-game stretch is a home loss to Cincinnati. I've got Cincinnati winning because I'm kind of high on them for whatever reason. But yeah, with you, I have them beating Arizona State at home,
Mhm.
because that just sounds like a thing that could randomly happen.
Yeah, and then they finish up the season on the road at Baylor. I think they win. I think they beat Baylor. You could flip that, but that would give Baylor 10 wins on my projection. I hated that more than I hate this. I've got them hosting Kansas State and winning that one. I've got them beating Kansas on the road, Michael, to win 10 games.
Goodness gracious. Okay, I have them losing on the road to Baylor, but I do have them finishing the year 2-0, beating Kansas State and Kansas for 5-7. So this is probably our biggest disagree.
So I've got them over by a game and a half. You've got them under by 3.5.
Yes. It's a
hopefully
haterade pick.
Hopefully they fall under. Say they go 7-5 or 8-4 even. I could see them flipping Cincinnati, Baylor. Those are 2 losses. That alone gets them to 8-4. Elevation up at Wyoming's not going to be a thing for them. They're in the mountains. Their schedule is just so soft. They've got Arizona State, Kansas State, and Texas Tech on the schedule. But I've got them winning 2 of those 3 games. I don't know. I just think their offensive line is really good. Their defense has been really good. They're going to lean on the running attack and hope that Dampier doesn't throw it away to the other team enough times to keep them ahead of games. So I want to be wrong here at 10-2. I do. I just couldn't find enough losses there. Because like I said, if I flip that Baylor game, that's got them winning 10 games for me.
Well, you should have asked me. I found a lot of losses for
You got them.
I think I had to talk myself out of some of them.
UCLA.
Almost had them going 4-8. Yeah.
Why? Because they've got Nico
West Coast.
Iamaleava.
It's on the road. It's West Coast. They're not going to be ready. They're going to trot out their Mountain West offense, and it won't be ready for a 9 a.m. start or whatever on the West Coast.
All right. Let's wrap this up with West Virginia.
Rich Rod rides again.
I have them. I've got them the inverse of Utah. Let me just rip that band out. I've got them going 2-10. I could not find wins here. I think they were just decimated, and they have a tough schedule. I just couldn't find a spot where they their home games. I just couldn't give them enough benefit to say, oh, they're going to win that one. They're projected to win 5.5. I've got them way under. I've got them starting off 2-0 and then losing 10.
Oh my gosh.
Beating Robert Morris, beating Ohio on the road, losing at home versus Pitt, at Kansas, home versus Utah, at BYU. Tell me where I'm wrong.
The only 2 places I think you're wrong
only
they
2
will beat Utah at home.
No, they're not.
Because Utah's terrible, and they will somehow get a win in BYU heading into the bye week, just to give them a little bit of juice going into the bye week. But let me spoil you here. I think we're going to agree between the 2 bye weeks, because based off of there being no more wins left on the schedule for them, it's going to be an 0-5 run between the 2 bye weeks from both of us, when West Virginia heads to Orlando, when they host TCU, when they go to Houston, when they host Colorado, and when they go to Arizona State. You and I are both chalking all those to L's. And then the game that matters, the only one that matters, you're going to hate this. I picked them to beat Texas Tech.
What the F?
The last game. It's a home game. They will have just come off of that 0-5 streak, an 0 I can't even keep up with it, a 9 streak on your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to be fired up to host Texas Tech, a team that
They're going to be so dead.
has had their way with the Mountaineers at home up in Morgantown, sort of, kind of. And we're going to be their Super Bowl. It'll be after a bye week for them. Oh, and Tech too. So yeah, we're going to be their Super Bowl. So that could be an L on Texas Tech's schedule. One of not very many for those of you keeping count.
So I think it's a combination of like they have a really tough schedule, and I think like momentum will just stack against them and they will just quit. So their home games: Pitt, Utah, TCU, Colorado, Texas Tech, in that order. Winnable games, sure. But I think the further they get into this losing streak, the more they're just like, F it. I mean, I've got them out of bowl contention when they lose to Houston. And then they still have 3 more games to go. Like Houston will be their 7th loss.
You have them. That's November 1st, so almost
the last October, month of their season.
You could almost say that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. If you give Brett Ciancia any credence here and his projection, his advanced stats graded out West Virginia as one of the league's worst teams in 2024, despite their 5-4 record. So, opponent adjusted metrics, they were 14th of 16 on offense, 15th on defense, and 13th in their overall game grader, so how they performed in the games. Add that in with a coaching change, scheme transitions, and resets at most positions, it's going to be a rebuild. I don't disagree. I mean, it will be rough. I think it will snowball against them in such a horrendous fashion that they lose 10 games.
I might flip this game. The last game for Texas Tech.
Oh, please do. Come on, man.
I just can't get to. We'll talk about it more next week. Maybe I'll change my mind next week. I still have a, we've locked in our week 0 picks for the Big 12. Those are locked in. I don't feel like I'm going to change those or wish-wash on those. But these other ones, they're not locked in yet. So when we get to Texas Tech next week, we'll revisit this.
All right. Speaking of week 0, let's go to that really quickly. Iowa State, Kansas State. Kansas State's a 3-point favorite here. 11 a.m. ESPN, Dublin, Ireland.
Give me the Jayhawks.
3 points enough? Jayhawks.
I said Jayhawks. Oh my God. Oh, I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, that's not right. Give me the Wildcats.
Eat them up, Cats.
Because right below them is the word Kansas.
Yeah. Fresno State at Kansas. 12.5-point favorites are the Jayhawks. That feels like pretty. I don't know Fresno State. That feels rich, lot. But I mean, it's their opening night at their new stadium. It could be pretty juiced. Everybody else in the Big 12 is off. I couldn't even tell you what the rest of the.
I can real quick. I had that pulled up in a separate window. So the other games on week 0, 3 p.m. you have Idaho State at UNLV.
Ooh.
And 6 p.m. Sam Houston at Western Kentucky. That could be pretty good if you get the CBS Sports Network. And then for your not so late night kickoff, which is probably throwing off the Rainbow Warriors quite a bit, Stanford at Hawaii at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, August 23rd.
It's probably just like
kind of strange.
11 a.m. kickoff for them.
Yeah, it might be. That's got to feel weird.
But nothing really on the schedule there except for 3 Big 12 teams. I'm sorry.
Sam
And then-
Houston at Western Kentucky. If I'm around a TV, I'll turn that one on. But yeah, really, I'm hoping I can watch the Iowa State at Kansas State game. I'm legitimately excited about that. I think that's pretty fun.
We'll talk about next week's schedule, but starting on Thursday night, man, it is, or Thursday afternoon, excuse me, Boise State at South Florida at 4:30. Ohio Rutgers, East Carolina, NC State. Sign me up.
Yeah, they want you to just take off work a couple hours early on Thursday and almost Friday. I think the games start at 5 on Friday, but still, you gotta. There's a commute involved. So yeah, they really want you to just take off work on early on Thursday and then call in sick Friday.
Yeah. Well, you do get. I mean, I've got a 4-day weekend next week with the holiday on Monday.
Mine's just a 3, but you do get college football on
Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yep. Thursday night, SFA at Houston, Nebraska, Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio, Wisconsin. Friday, you get an early look at Army. Auburn, Baylor is Friday night. Colorado, Georgia Tech is Friday night. Saturday is the whole thing. I mean, shoot, the whole schedule. I'm not going to go through all through Saturday, but let's look at Sunday. You mentioned Sunday. Sunday is a lot of games. Hold on. Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Notre Dame, Miami.
And then Monday, you've got your Big 12 matchup where the Horned Frogs head up to Chapel Hill to take on the Fighting Bill Belichick's.
TC's
7
a
p.m. on Labor Day.
3-point favorite on the road. We will get into that a whole lot more. Oh, you had the schedule here. No, that's week one. That's week one. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's just Big 12 schedule. That's what I have there. I don't have everybody else.
Yeah. We'll do our Big 12. Sorry, our Texas Tech predictions, our game one preview, and look around the Big 12. Let's wrap this one up, Michael, with what do we learn? What you think?
Let's do it.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
All right, I got two things. Based on our conversation last week, I fired up King of the Hill today. Finally, I fired up for lunch today. I forgot where you told me to start. I just went season 1, episode 1. I went with the pilot. I don't know if you've watched this one in a while or have seen it, but it was where Hank gets turned into basically CPS for abusing his
he
son.
yells. He seems like he yells a whole lot in the first couple seasons, and then they kind of walk that back a little bit.
There were moments where one like I've been exposed to King of the Hill enough to like I feel like I know the characters, like I knew like enough about them. And I don't know story enough to like I have to watch this series. But the character I feel like I knew what was happening, or like I knew what was going to happen. I had several legitimately laughing out loud moments watching this show. The first episode, enough so that I'm probably going to keep throwing it on. For whatever reason, like Hulu kicked me out before I can even finish the episode. It said like, we're having trouble playing this title. And I was like, oh, screw you then. I can't remember what it was, but it was like an implied curse from Hank, like where he was going to say something, but like his line just cut off. Lost it. I was sitting there laughing to myself in my empty office at lunch.
The things that get me the most, Spencer, are, and I can't even remember any of them because they happen so fast. They're almost just throwaway lines where like, okay, here's a new scene. There's two people sitting in a room together, and one of them says something. about the Cowboys or something that's hilarious, and then they just move on to the actual scene. Like it's just this. It happens constantly. It happens so many times on this show where it's just like a throwaway. Well, and that's the last time that I ever blah blah blah, and then they just continue on to their scene. So that I can't even remember them because they throw a couple out at you every episode, and they make me laugh the hardest because they're just out of nowhere. Uh, but yeah, I think I mean you can't really go wrong with where you want to start or not start on your rewatch. I think I only recommended like picking a handful out of the last 4 or 5 seasons just because it would kind of look and feel the same or closer to this new season. But man, yeah, if you're going all the way back, more power to you. Go for it.
There was something again. I can't. I've seen one episode, or I've seen most of one episode now, and there were what like 3 or 4 lines from Boomhauer. I just lost
See, that's man. I thought you would like it.
it. It was
A lot of what people say is like it's almost a documentary. Like you probably know people in your life that are very close or like a formation of different combinations of these people, and
I
they
think
get it right.
I think part of it wasn't even like what he said because it was like incoherent. It was Hank saying like no. Like Boomhauer said something, he's like, no. That and then just like moved on. He was just like so dismissed because he said something so ridiculous. I don't know. It was hilarious. I will probably keep throwing it on at least during lunches, whatever, as long as Wi-Fi is working. I enjoyed it probably more than I thought it was. To your point, it was like characters felt familiar enough. Again, it's old and I've had enough exposure to it. Like it was just, I feel like I knew them, but it was just, like I said, I've never watched a full episode before. I guess I still haven't, but
Yeah, you haven't. Hulu has ruined that for you. Yeah, you might even do one of those like searches or like top 10 King of the Hill episodes or something, and just throw those on. But I mean, they all run together for me because I didn't watch it religiously while it was on, and I don't think I've seen actually every single episode. But I couldn't tell you what some of my favorite things, what episode they came from. I just remember them happening. And they had great guest stars all throughout the years. I think Mike Judge is a musician, so he had a lot of musicians on, a lot of country guys and ZZ Top, and uh, I think like Randy Travis, and I mean just a bunch of different people come on. And sometimes they'd voice themselves, and sometimes they would just voice a character. I think Toby Keith did just like this redneck character when he came on. I can't remember for sure. Anyway, it's yeah. Enjoy the journey. There's a ton of episodes. I don't feel like you've got to watch all of them, but it's just I thought they really did a good job with the new season.
okay.
I was surprised. I was very hopeful, and I was just they exceeded my expectations anyway.
All right. The other thing I was going to bring up, we hosted some family in town this weekend. It was my oldest birthday, and then Samantha's. A couple of her sisters wanted to come down, one to see the house, but also or to see us come visit us, but also to celebrate his birthday with us. Went to the beach, and because it was, or went out to the island, because it was one of those things where like it was vacation for them. Like we kind of felt like we were committed to be there longer than we normally would. And also because I was just juggling lots of things. I didn't properly protect the skin of my back, Michael. I applied sunscreen to everywhere that I could reach before we left the house. I reapplied sunscreen to everything I could reach while at the beach after I got out of the ocean, which I'd been in the water maybe an hour. The sunscreen said it was waterproof for 80 minutes, but I was like, I know that like you come out, it's like we're gonna be here a little bit longer. I'm just gonna go ahead and reapply. Okay, so we get to the beach, we park, we're doing sunscreen for the kids. I remember, oh, I need Samantha to do my back. but I didn't want to take my shirt off in the parking lot, have her do my back, and then put my shirt back on to walk to the spot because I wasn't sure when I was going to get in the water. I was like, I'll just do it when we get there and put all the stuff down. And we get to our spot, kids scatter, Samantha goes in the ocean. I sit in my chair, I sit down. And then I like just a few minutes later, I was like, I'm gonna go swim now. So I got up and went in the ocean.
Oh
Did
no.
not put sunscreen on my back at all, even once. So I was out there without my shirt on, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Toasty, Michael.
The last time I did that, I had like a fever and had to lay in bed for a day.
Okay, it wasn't that bad. Like it was almost like muscular soreness. Like yes, it was hot
Yeah.
that first night, but like then the second day, like I just felt sore. And I can still feel it some. It's more like there's something in my shirt that's catching. Like you're getting to the point where like it's getting a little itchy. When I first wrote this in the notes, I said I got my first sunburn of the year. I don't remember getting a sunburn last year, so this is like I wasn't outside a whole lot. I mean, outside of like mowing and baseball, and I've been a lot better about wearing sunscreen when we go out. This is probably my first sunscreen my first sunburn in a few years. Definitely the worst one in a long time. My face was never really burned. I had some of my arms there. It's all coming back down. The top of one of my feet got burned pretty good.
Ooh, yeah, that happens.
And then my back, but specifically between my shoulder blades, like lower than I can reach, like this. And then the first couple nights after that, like, so that was Saturday. The past few nights have been really difficult to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't help when like you're consciously trying not to move. Then you get like muscular sore from just laying in bed for too long. I'm on the mend. Just don't ever, I mean, we joke about this a lot, but take your son's safety seriously. The boys got a little bit of a sunburn across their cheek and nose. We did apply sunscreen to them. They wore, shorts and like the rash guard long sleeve shirts. So the only thing that was exposed for them was their faces, and they refused. I don't know why I gave them the choice. I told them to come let me reapply sunscreen, and they both told me, no, we're not doing that. Well, they got burned, but theirs has since faded. I felt bad for our daughter. I did not reapply. She did get a little bit of a sunburn on her back. Didn't seem to bother her though. But it's not to be trifled with. The sun, it always wins.
Mm-mm. It does. It finds a way.
Samantha got toasted. She got like her across her the top of her chest up here, between her collarbones. The worst. She said, I don't know if she put sunscreen on there, but like it's funny. Her chest got burned. My back got burned. I was like, well, we were facing each other a lot because like we were like on opposite sides of the kids. We kept the kids between us.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. Like
It does.
she was in the water a whole lot more than I was. I was on the beach in my chair. When I got out of the water, I put my shirt on. So I was literally just out there when I was, swimming when I got burned, but it did not take very long. What about you, Michael? What'd you learn?
I was trying to think of something. I'm not sure if I learned anything.
Take your sunscreen with you.
Oh, well, see, I know all that. I mean, who do you think you're talking to? But I did get a little bit of a sunburn the last time we went to the pool this year because I refuse to apply it on my legs unless I really have to. And so my theory is, well, I'm going to be in the water, so whatever. Don't care about my legs. But I made the mistake of sitting on the edge of the pool for, I kid you not, maybe 20 minutes at two different points. So probably like 10 minutes each. And that was all it took. And I had like a little 4-inch slice of just completely red leg on both of them that has finally gone back to normal. But no, what did I learn? Did I eat anything cool? My wife's been cooking a lot. Some really good stuff. But I can't remember. I don't think I learned anything. I learned that you really don't think West Virginia is going to win very many football games, and I'm very down on Utah, and probably way too high on BYU.
Well, there you go. It'll all play out in front of us starting this weekend. But that'll do it for us here on the 23 Personnel Podcast. This was your Big 12 predictions episode for us. We'll be back next week for our Texas Tech edition and Game 1 preview. Michael jokingly, when he put the spreadsheet together, had Texas Tech going 12-0. I'll tell you how different I am from that. Maybe not much. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.